Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Alexander in Civilization 6. We just captured Thebes. Pretty easy little battle here. Let's go ahead and we'll grab old Magnus boy up here, and we'll slap him down in Thebes. So my goal this episode, to put it briefly, is to finish off the war with Egypt. I want to get that done, and I'd like to get most of the war finished off with India. I might leave like a couple of these cities uncaptured, because once I have Patna and maybe a couple of the cities surrounding it, I just have to beeline for Moreau. Now that is going to be a tough battle because she is relatively ahead in terms of technology, but I'm hoping that I can maybe get flight and oil in time to be able to use biplanes and bombers to do significant damage to them. Time to start bombarding Chennai again. There is a little pike and shot here, but thankfully I have a field cannon in the area to do serious damage to him. And I think now with a couple of these guys, I should be able to rush down and break this city super fast. Beautiful. We'll definitely keep that city. We need a little bit of loyalty. I'm going to grab Moksha right now and slap him into Chennai. And then we'll start thinking about moving on Patna next and then sweep back. I don't know if I want to fully kill... India. Might not be a terrible idea. I'm not going to get peace with Nubia, although it might be 10 turns before I want to go to war with her. So I could get peace with her and sort of allow some of these grievances to bleed away, which would make any future war a little bit easier. So I tell you what, would she pay me? She won't pay me, but she will take peace, and that'll give me 10 turns of not having to deal with her army. Although you can kind of tell right now she doesn't really have an army, and that'll give me a chance to sort of build up my power. Little coursers over here. So Egypt is so far behind technologically that they basically pose zero threat to me right now. So it's just a matter of like getting all my units in position around them and hammering away at them. May as well pop in here, do a little bit of damage to my cavalry. So this should be a fairly easy and straightforward war. The hard thing is going to be taking on these cities that actually have like fortification strength. Like I believe this city has medieval walls and they're working on Renaissance walls. So Rack of Death is going to be definitely a harder cookie to crack. But I think that we can do it regardless. Now there is industrialization. More importantly, we get access to a whole bunch of coal. There's actually coal right here. I'm going to need a builder to improve that coal. So that's the first source of coal. I have to basically go around my entire empire and find all of the coal and get builders over to improve it. Another chunk of coal here. I'll need a builder. I have a builder popping out this way. You go get that coal. Thankfully, I have a couple of pieces of coal actually already underneath my my thingies, so that'll be interesting. Let me go ahead and put a pin here to remind myself about this coal. I want as much coal as possible, and I'm also going to be working on industrial zones, in particular Aigai, my capital city. And it's probably now that I have access to coal, getting steam power is a good time because then I can start building railroads with those military engineers that I built. And in fact, it might even be worth my while to get a couple more military engineers just so I can get railroads to reinforce troops really, really fast and win the game even faster. But once I have steam power, I'm going to need oil and maybe then artillery and airplanes. A lot of cities right now just need like a little bit of management. I'm not too worried about like what specifically they're doing. A lot of my cities are just kind of slowly building builders and building basic infrastructure and stuff like that. Again, I'm not super worried. I have so many cities. There's no point in like super effectively managing each individual city. Just build some basic infrastructure stuff and let the majority of my like original cities kind of carry my economy. I'm going to see if I can kill this encampment actually while I'm at it. I may as well try to like limit the number of vectors of attack that I have against me. If I can get rid of this encampment, it means attacking Agra will be a little bit easier. Anyway, we have a bit of a surplus of troops here, so I'm going to start combining them together a little bit after doing damage to the city and stuff like that to try to maximize how much damage I get out of a single tile, and also start to like reduce the total amount of money that I'm paying in terms of my gold economy on these units, because if you can get units to combine together, typically they have a the upgraded unit has a cheaper maintenance cost than the unupgraded uncombined unit. So that's why I like combining my units together. We should be able to kill this district without too much hassle. I'm going to use this cuirassier and then get this guy to heal up. And then we can get to work on Patna as a priority. It'll take me a few turns to break that, but it shouldn't be too bad. I really need another bombard over here to combine with this this bombard. Alright, let's keep attacking Egypt. Should be a fairly easy kill here. Perfect. The nice thing about combining your units together is you actually have a lot less units to actually individually manage, which makes your life a lot easier too. Although it does mean you have less units to garrison cities and stuff like that. So I'm going to pop you up there. Take your Corsairs promotion. Pop you around here. You come in and combine. You can see I have a much smaller army, but it's like power level is much more concentrated into individual tiles, which means less units to micro and actually kind of technically faster gameplay. That's why I always recommend combining your units together. And now certain units, like if I have really highly leveled units, I'll make an effort to try to preserve the promotion level. Like these two guys, I'm going to send them off here to join this army to get combined together and join this sort of massive tank army that's going to be appearing in the not too distant future. There we go. Free settler. Nice. New home. They keep a wary eye on the floodplains. Nice. New city. Settle right here. Pitna. They keep a wary eye on the floodplains. The city will probably never be useful, but there you go. I got a free settler, so I used it, you know. Seems like a reasonable thing to do to me. Agra just got hit by a flood, which is actually dead useful for me. Bombard in range of Patna. Now, Patna is a capital city, so it is going to be a little bit tougher to break compared to some of the other cities we've been hitting. But that shouldn't be a problem. Especially since these field cannons are almost level 4. This bombard is almost level 5, which is kind of insane, really, if you think about just how long I've had that bombard and just how much experience I've kind of gotten from using this. Next up, I think we'll try to break Shadet. The good news is that this field cannon is incredibly powerful, so it does a ridiculous amount of damage to this city on its first shot. And the same should be said of my other cavalry too. Nice. I will keep the cuirassier here until this cavalry can take over. Let's get the great general holding up the front line too. I need to keep a garrison in here for the +7 loyalty I get from having garrison units thanks to the Limitanii card. Alright, so we are fighting again at Patna. I did a little bit of economic management. I'm trying to cut out a little bit more of that economic management stuff because at this point in the game, the only thing that matters is keeping my gold up, really, while I try and just push forward here and break Patna. I think I will hammer the city with my cuirassiers to try to just get as much extra damage in as possible. Because if I can get the combat strength of the city down, we'll start hitting them way harder. Although I'm a little bit worried about the health of these guys. I might combine, actually. Yeah, I'm going to combine my weaker guys, I think. This will give them a little bit of health, and also they'll do a little bit more damage and stuff. You should survive. I don't know, it could be up in the air. But we did get the military academy in here. I'm going to get the bank because, again, I need gold. What I could do is I could go through my empire and tell people to focus on gold, a few of my cities. And that would kind of result in sort of the gold problem going away. Like I could say food production gold people are to focus on. I could kind of, maybe. That might help, I don't know. Because you can kind of see here people are working food production and gold. Like food and gold as a priority, maybe. Yeah, I guess we could do food and gold as a priority, and then people would prefer to work these tiles. Maybe that'll work a little bit better, because that way we won't neglect growth. But regardless, I have tools I can use to increase my gold income, so I'm not super worried at the moment. The big thing is would be to get Lisbon up to level 2 sort of friendship here, because that would give me +2 gold in every bank that I have. And I have a decent number of banks. We have Shadet surrounded as well right now, so we're going to bombard it again with this field cannon. Some of these guys do need promotion, so I'll make sure I'll keep taking those. And the city is slowly but surely falling, and we will get a cuirassier in here as well to join the fray. And they might even just about not kill the city. But I'm feeling very confident that we'll be able to take Egypt this episode. Aha! An opportunity to combine a low-level unit with a high-level unit, netting me a very, very powerful level 4 cuirassier. No peace for you, Egypt. I'm afraid you must be eliminatorized. Owie. Looks like that that guy seems a little angry at me. 1,000-year flood over here in Cahokia. Yikes, they took some damage. But Shadette should fall this turn. I'll shoot them one more time with this field cannon and then clean them out with my cuirassier. Perfect. Got a bunch of boosts. And now I think it's time. I think it's about time that we hit their capital city. What do you guys think? Let's have a look and see how much damage we can do. That's going to be a very, very slow battle here. So, I'm going to need more field cannons. Tell you what, I'll just make a bombard or two and try to get them out there in a reasonable amount of time. Alright, we are negative 41 gold. Ooh, okay. We definitely need to lock in a little bit more gold, I think. And a little bit less production in some of these cities. I do have 2 more envoys. I'm going to send those to Lisbon. That'll free me up a little bit of gold. Let's look at the capital city. Do we have an available tile? Yeah, I need to just go. Basically what I need to do is go through like a huge chunk of my empire and force work some gold tiles. I think that's realistically what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, I think it's completely necessary because otherwise my gold income is just going to completely collapse. Okay, so I went through like the vast majority of my cities and I tried to find where I had commercial hubs and make sure that I was working them. But my economy is still negative, so that's kind of a yikes. I need to start combining units together to try to save on the cost of my units, and I need to also plug in conscription because I did just get the Alhambra. So this is going to save me a bit of cash too. Each unit is going to save me 1 gold, and like even triangular trade, I thought this would be very helpful. It might be worth my while to pull out serfdom and plug in either free market or town charters just to get that little bit of extra gold to try to sustain my economy. As much as I love the extra bill charges, I think I'm going to confirm my policies for now. And well, okay, never mind. My gold just jumped massively. Oh, my gold tanked because my government wasn't in effect properly. Well, now I have to go through and make sure that none of my cities that I assigned to gold are starving. Still going to wait 5 turns for Porto Alegre to come back to my side, which is, mildly perturbing. But I'm also building more of these Cahokia mounds in the hopes that they help out with my economy problems. Speaking of economy problems, I'm losing all my Diplo favor. So what I might do is just for the few turns that I'm at peace with Nubia, I might be like, hey, how much of your gold do you want to like give me? Like, if I offer them like this much, 100 Diplo favor for 400 gold and 25 gold per turn, that's pretty decent in terms of gold income to actually turn around and then use against them. So it seems like a cute little strategy that we can employ. Speaking of employing cute little strategies, it's about time for Patna to die. And the good news is we actually captured a city with a world wonder, so that healed all my units over here, which means we can continue this fight very, very easily. This guy has a promotion. Yes, we have expert marksman. These guys can shoot twice in a turn, which is amazeballs. Speaking of shooting twice per turn, both of these cuirassiers can attack twice per turn. There we go. Patna has been captured. Now, Patna is a bit of a problem because this is a capital city, so it is going to need the help of one of my people. Can I take Amani away from here? I can grab Amani here and reassign her to Patna, giving me the loyalty that I need to hang on to this city. Can I step out of the city and maintain loyalty? I can. Beautiful. I do not need to maintain a garrison there. So I think the next set of moves is we're at peace with Nubia for what I believe is 5 more turns. So we'll spend about 5 turns, maybe taking on Agra, pushing down through Ahmedabad. I can't remember how to say the city's name. And then hit Faras, maybe Nuri or Napata. Try to like make our way towards Meroe. And then that should be the end of it. That should be all she wrote for Nubia and the rest. What I'm going to be doing here too is looking for any pillages on trade routes and districts, because if I can get these pillaged, I believe it will actually make the cities easier to conquer because it lowers the combat strength of them, which means we do, each hit does slightly more damage than we would otherwise have done, which, seems like a pretty good move to me. The nice thing is this guy can shoot twice, meaning we're doing slightly more than double damage, because every time you damage a city, you do slightly more damage on the next hit. First, Bombard Corps finished. We're going to send this down to deal with Egypt, although it would be nice if we had a better railroad. Speaking of better railroad, time to get that military engineer going. I'm quite surprised by how little niter I'm making per turn. I'm only getting 4 per turn, which is seriously not enough. Considering how much niter there is on the map, that I just don't have improved, I'm assuming. Yeah, there's like a chunk over here just out of range of my cities. I definitely need to get this niter here improved, so I'll put a pin on that to remind myself. Looks like a bunch of the niter spawned up here where nobody ever actually settled, so a lot of the niter is just unclaimed around city-states and stuff like that, which is fine. We have enough to sustain an army, but I would have liked a little bit more. In the meantime, alright, the Siege of Rakkadet is about to begin, but I think the main goal here is going to be to use my cavalry to kind of run around and pillage all the districts to reduce the combat strength of this city slowly over time. The idea being that, if we can get all the districts that belong to Rakkadet pillaged, we can then lower the combat strength of this city slightly and therefore do a little bit more damage when we actually attack it with our units like this. Agra shall fall this turn. I could level up my bombard. It doesn't seem necessary, not when I have a city to shoot. In particular, when I have a city to shoot. Let's see, who's close to a level? I would like this guy to eventually get leveled up, so I'll take the city with him for the 10 experience that you get from capturing a city, and we'll go ahead and grab Moksha and pop him in there. Now, the good news, / bad news, depending on how you want to look at it, is my spy was just kicked out of that city, and we're going to go ahead and get him established inside of Meroe, the enemy capital city. I also need to do a little bit of combination here. A couple of these cuirassiers need combination. And the nice thing about combining them again is that it frees up my economy a little bit. I don't have to worry about it so much. So then we just need to take Ahmedabad, head for Faras. I might even burn these cities to the ground. We'll think about that. Just doing a ton of pillaging around here, stealing all of their faith and their money. Problem is, plundering a trade route takes all of your movement. Kind of a little bit of an obnoxious thing. Slowly chipping away at the walls. Not nearly fast enough, but we'll chip them away as we chip them away. I could justify maybe hitting the city a little bit, but I would want it to be under siege first, because then at least any damage I do is preserved, which seems a little bit more reasonable. Ahmedabad, time for you to be burnt down. I'm also pillaging a bunch of gold here so that I have the oil, the money once I have oil to actually promote these guys into tanks that we're very, very close to unlocking, as well as the artillery units. Upgrading these guys to tanks will be a huge boost to their combat power. They go all the way up to 90, which means I don't think that the Nubians will really be able to stand against 90 combat power tanks barreling down the center of their empire. There we go. Pillaged a industrial zone and grabbed myself refining. Out of curiosity, we found a bunch of antiquity sites. Did we find oil? We did find oil. Oh, yes. There's oil all over the place, even in this. Okay, well, we can only get land-based oil. Let's do a little search. Man, a lot of oil didn't... What? I need to capture Ranchi? Oh my god. There's 2 oil there that I could use for my units. That's obnoxious. Yeah, all of the oil actually spawned mostly outside of my territory. I will go ahead and purchase a builder in here. Thankfully, Liang is here, so I get extra value. So that I can get this oil and this oil online. They're going to be pretty important. There's a couple of coal there too. Now, the question is, do I go for flight or do I go for combustion? I think I'm going to go for flight right now, because it's only 3 techs. A total of what looks like 9 turns, which is slightly less than steel to combustion. And these take longer to get online, so the earlier I get them, the better. Working on killing the musketmen around this city. city is slowly taking damage, and I do have bombards on the way up here from the north. Another one is finishing up, and I have a couple of military engineers trying to build railways down straight to here to get these bombards up and reinforcing as fast as possible. But I don't know, it just takes some time to really take things on. I did in fact lose a cavalry there. I think they just got a unit ranged attack upgrade there because they did way more damage than I was expecting. Ooh, there's an interesting resolution. I believe this 100% city-state yield type when sending trade routes to the city-state of that type actually stacks. So you keep sending trade routes to city-states, it gets ridiculous. Yikes, so we have a -5 loyalty penalty in all of my cities. That's going to make my life a little bit more difficult. And I also need to start considering sending units to go take care of Ranchi. Thankfully, Ranchi's actually pretty vulnerable because it doesn't have walls, so I think 2 cuirassiers, level 4, should be able to take it on without any issues whatsoever. Ahmedabad is also just, completely crumbling under the march of my armoured hooves. Should be a fairly straightforward kill here. I think I can double attack with this guy and get that city. Perfect, perfect. So big problem is, if I declare peace with Chandragupta, I'm going to get a ton more grievances against him. Because I'll actually take his cities. So, in a way, I'm actually kind of better off murdering him if I can. How many more cities do you have, Chandra? He only has 4 more cities, it looks like. I could kill those pretty quick. Only one of them has walls. So I may as well finish him off. That way I don't have to deal with a certain amount of grievances, rather. So, if I send a trade route to Lisbon, out of curiosity, that will net me quite a bit of gold, actually. 17 gold from trading with Lisbon. That's not bad. Seems like that is a pretty reasonable result of that diplomatic session of World Congress. Picking up an extra 17 gold from a trade route. I'll take that deal. Still trying to poke down the Egyptian capital. It's down to about 100 health, which means we're about slightly more than halfway through actually breaking that city. You see, the thing is, the first little bit of a city's health you take down takes forever. And then when you actually get through there... Okay, so we just used Charles Darwin, we got scientific theory, and all the way to flight in a single turn. So we should be able to start building airplanes in the next few turns. We just need a little bit more oil from these couple of places. Perfect. Flight is finito. I want to come in here, and I really want to build an aerodrome. Where could I build one? I'll need more housing. I'll need more food in my capital, actually. Why are you underfed? I don't understand. Thankfully, I have been holding on to a district possibility here in Methane, so this will probably be where I get my... this will probably be where I actually pick up my aeroplanes. Speaking of logistics and transport like airplanes, railroad now transfers all the way from Methane down to Chalkidiki, which means my bombards that I created several turns after these bombards are going to reach the front line almost at the exact same time. I'm actually going to create just a basic bombard as well to combine together to turn this into 2 bombard armies. With the conclusion of flight, I'm going to pick up combustion so that I can upgrade my tanks and my artillery up to a higher level. And do I want the military academy in here? Realistically, I want the bank, because money is just a bit of a problem, as it always seems to be for me. Just a continuous, endless, never-ending problem. Ranchi, time to meet your maker. Oh, I can't quite get both of these guys to hit the city, but maybe this will be the kill? Just about. I'll get this oil online very soon, don't you worry. I'll need an absolutely gargantuan amount of oil to actually fuel my economy here. We'll go ahead and take the emplacement promotion on this guy so that he can sustain fire from the city a little bit longer. I don't even know if these bombards are going to make it in time to support. Maybe I kind of delayed actually building my reinforcing armies just a scooch too long. I could attack one more time and then promote on this guy. I could attack with this guy and he should absorb the city shots. Let's get a move on Hyderabad. It's one of the cities that does not need really a whole lot of bombard power pushed into it, because it's still very low on the old health, regardless of what we actually do. It doesn't actually have any defensive walls on it, so it should be a pretty easy thing to break. I need to get these Need to get these cuirassiers over to this eastern front line as well to combine together with these guys when they become tanks. Owie! Taking some hits there from India. Nothing too crazy. Another drought in my capital. That's actually a big pain in the ass because that's a lot of the city's food just after getting wiped out there. But I tells you what, we do have promotions available, which means we don't need to worry quite so much about the healthiness of our units. We're also doing some crazy damage to the city regardless. Go ahead and pop you forward to kill off this guy. You should be able to double shot him, and then you can shoot the city. This cuirassier should be able to finish this off, get a level up, and be ready to keep going. I think I'm going to grab Victor now and reassign him to the front line in Hyderabad. Then I just need to take out these 3 cities. And Ranchi, I mean, that falls this turn. Not much to be said about that. And I shouldn't even have any loyalty problems there. Although I will go ahead and purchase myself a builder at 700 gold. The 700 gold cost, but I think it's worth it. To make sure that we build this up. A lot of these cities have little to no development. I'm very surprised by this. Like, the AI just kind of like sitting around doing nothing. It feels like their territories is completely undeveloped, whereas the lands that I actually made were like incredibly well developed with like tons of districts, tons of infrastructure, lots of really good stuff going on. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I definitely could be playing this a lot better. I'm kind of playing it a little bit lazy, TBH. But, you know, that's part of the game. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit lazy. Now, the cool thing is you can do with these military engineers is you can use the guy at the back of the train of military engineers to build the railroad for the guy at the front of the train. So you can kind of leapfrog past each other and get these long chains of railroads going between your cities, letting units like this make it all the way from here to here in a single turn. I don't know, it's not. I guess it's not that super impressive, but it is like a really good way to get reinforcements to the front line. You know, these like military engineers. They kind of come late into the game though, when you're already winning this hard. Maybe I should play a slightly bigger game with like 8 people on a Pangaea map and do this. Maybe that would be a little bit more interesting. Actually, I kind of like the idea of doing an 8-player Pangaea domination game now. I have kind of the hunger for a domination game. I've been playing a lot, and I mean a lot of those regular ass. Let me go ahead and take marauding here. I've been playing a lot of those regular ass sort of, you know, culture games and stuff like that to try to just kind of generally make content. But I'm not tired of culture. I definitely am in the mood for something different. All right, so there's Egypt completely obliterated. Let's grab Magnus and reassign him into the new city of Rakadeth. There we go. 28 turns, full loyalty. I could keep going. They only have basic ancient walls in this city, so that should be a fairly easy kill. And I did capture a world wonder, so that gave everyone a heal. Do I want to just keep pushing? I don't see a reason not to. These units aren't going to make it over here in time to fight in a war, would they? No, it's a very far long way of war. I may as well just use them to keep fighting here. I could do peace with her, but her cities might flip independent, and then I would have to wait 10 turns to go back to fight her again. So it's probably going to be just like a total domination here from here on out. Now, my sword needs to be broken. Thankfully, I do have a bombard in the area to completely shatter the walls like a pane of glass. Perfect. And then I can double attack with my cuirassier, and I think I can finish it with this cuirassier as well. So then we just need to go ahead and wipe out Trivandrum, which has 0 defenses. So I think a single cuirassier here. And India is now defeated, completely gone, +5 era score. Keep that city. And I think next up is Nubia. Now, we do have a bit of grievances with Nubia, but thankfully, because I got peace with them, those grievances have been draining away, which is going to make my life slightly easier in terms of loyalty. And we can also do a Golden Age war here, so we have 75% less grievances on declaration and any captures of cities. So I'm thinking I might try to liberate or capture Vilnius, push my way down through Nuri, and then go straight for, like, maybe hit Napata and then hit Moreau. I'm not entirely sure my exact pathway. I'm also looking to get mobilization, so that's why I'm bringing these cavalry over to join together forces, but that might be unnecessary. And honestly, those bombards that I have walking over to Egypt, they should totally redirect, as should these military engineers, totally redirect the other direction to get reinforcements heading towards the front line here with Nubia. So I think that's definitely on the cards, and these bombards are going to just completely do a 180 and head back up. Should have really thought about a lot of this stuff before I kind of committed to some of my plans, but you know, sometimes you make mistakes. You don't do things the way you should. Got 14 turn until that city flips independent. I will use the basic unupgraded cavalry to occupy that city, and I'll bring the Great General forward. See, I could do some major defeats here. I think it would be in my favor to pillage some of these districts to bring the combat strength of the city down. My god, none of these cities had districts built or any of their basic infrastructure, unless like they get deleted, but I'm pretty sure they don't get like completely destroyed on capture. Usually they just get damaged. These cities had literally zero infrastructure, unless I'm insane. I don't know, it just kind of felt like they had zero infrastructure maybe. I'm curious how much damage these guys do. The Nubians. They have really good ranged units, which is something I need to look out for. Yikes! Okay, so they have machine guns. So they completely obliterated a cuirassier from 100% health down all the way to 0. So I am going to have to wait until I at least have artillery and tanks to push in here. And may even require aircraft to even get a dent made in the enemy units. Ooh, there's cuirassiers heading in everywhere. Now, I believe they're going to try to take Apu, but Apu is really, really far away. So I think that's a bit of a fruitless endeavor. Can you make it to here and build railroad? Excellent. So we... What was this? Nonsense. So I need a railroad going all the way through to Rio de Janeiro. More bombards. More bombards. Ooh, I should get an observation balloon. That seems like a pretty good one. Oh, trade with Lisbon. Look at that gold. Filling back up the coffers. Another oil improved. Excellent. And I may as well get these coal online as well, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Look how far we can get this bombard in a single turn. We can get it from this horse all the way to Pella. That's the power of the railroad. You don't usually see how useful it is, but it's actually very useful for logistics in terms of getting your units from A to B, and in terms of actually making your empire easier to attack and defend, right? Because enemy units are going to be able to run along your railroads and stuff like that. But you can get your units to where they need to go very easily. And that's a huge, huge advantage. Did anyone ever build the pyramids this game? I'm curious. Nope, nobody ever built Petra, at least. A lot of wonders just kind of went by the wayside, because the sheer amount of people that I murdered this game, no one had time to build them. One thing that I think we can do, even if we can't really approach due to the sheer power of the machine guns, is we might be able to like dip in, get vision of the city, shoot with a bombard, and then dip back out. But we are definitely going to need these guys to be artillery before they can really do damage to the city, because these guys only have 55 bombard strength compared to the artillery's 80. Iwinin will fall here promptly. I'm also pillaging districts in here and trade routes to try to just farm as much gold as possible for the inevitable fight with Nubia that's coming up. Ooh, yikes. These machine gun cores are actually a bit of a worry for me. They do a lot of damage and they are very hard to kill for my units. First things first, I think, is let's get this bombard upgraded into an artillery for the purpose of doing damage to Vilnius. In fact, I might even get quite a few artillery here, just to make my life a little bit easier in terms of bombard power. I have taken over Brussels as well, took their city's vanity, got a little bit of era score, and more importantly, this is going to act as a small buffer against Nubia's units. Finally combine these field cannons together. Maybe that'll give me a little bit more bombard strength, although I'm not sure if it actually counts cores and stuff like that. Little bit of a grudge match going on here. Well, nothing to be done for it except to bombard the hell out of these cuirassiers. Thankfully they take a significant amount of damage from artillery, even though they're usually not that good at fighting units. Unfortunately, the downside is my military engineers have been like halted in their tracks, because I can't move them forward to keep reinforcing and doing stuff like that. The final Egyptian city that actually has walls shall fall this turn. There we are. should be a fairly easy one, and thankfully because we captured all of those world wonders, all of my cities and units have been healed. Although, actually, I don't know if it heals cities, but my units have been healed, which is good enough for me. Just want to get Egypt out of the picture so I can focus 100% of my attention on Nubia. Right, bombard, or rather artillery is ready. Let's step forward and get vision of the city, hit it with the artillery, do a significant amount of damage to the walls, and then step back to a safe distance. It's going to be a slow and steady game of cat and mouse up here, especially because artillery is just a little bit out of my price range right now, 1720 to get it. But if I can get some more units up here, we'll make our way towards Meroe. I knew from the start of this game that Nubia was going to be the thorn in my side. I could create a bombard unit here using Gustavus Adolphus. He doesn't actually help with modern era units, which is what I need to use. So if I use him to create a bombard, then upgrade it into an artillery, I can combine it together with this artillery and actually get a significant amount more extra damage. Cavalry steps forward, artillery shoots city, artillery combines together with other artillery. Now you can see it'll do even more damage next turn, and then cavalry steps back. I think my aerodrome was finished this turn, so we can start cranking out biplanes, although they do take quite a while. I could purchase a biplane. They're about the same cost as an artillery, but the nice thing is I have Nagazagarmu. So everywhere I have a military academy, I can actually purchase units for quite cheap. I believe it's a 60% reduction in the cost. So whereas normally an artillery, a basic ass artillery unit would cost me about 1,700. I can get it for 600 or even 1,000 for a core. So if I could find somewhere that has like a near fully built military academy, I could use my gold to reinforce my front line up here as well. Lots of options about how I can go about things, but really the big thing is making sure that I can actually get to what I need. I'm making 50 great general points per turn, which is kind of insane. I may as well get John Monash with faith, because I'm not using my faith for anything else. And I could get the extra governor title here for 3,000. I may as well grab that, because I'm not using my faith for anything else, so I may as well throw it down the drain for something or other. So this machine gun actually represents a fairly big challenge for me, because it is a machine gun core. So it does a stupid amount of damage, and can tank a stupid amount of damage from my units. I do have an observation balloon in the area, however, which will allow at least some of my artillery units to hit it from a very long distance before it can get in range. There goes Egypt's second last city, and they only have one more to go before they completely crumble under my booty. Wait, no, not my booty. No, I meant to say boots. Crumble under my booty, Jesus Christ. I was trying to say, like, I don't know, like, by like booties. Like, I was trying to use a cute name for boots, but then I realized I accidentally mentioned my butt. Perfection. Wunderbar. We have unlocked the tank, and we have a ton of oil, so we should have absolutely zero problems upgrading into tanks with 90 combat strength, which is much more reasonable in terms of taking on the Nubians right now. Look at this damage we're doing to the city now. Now that we have this artillery and turned it into a core. See, how many of these tanks can I afford to make? I want to ideally turn the cores into tanks with high promotions first, and then hold back with the lower level units for later on. Now that I have tanks, I want to think about what my next unit upgrade is. And maybe it's machine gun. Do I go for the machine guns here? Machine guns don't feel like that much of an upgrade from field cannons, and I honestly feel like machine guns are better off as defensive units. I feel like field cannons are like the last time ranged class units are useful, and then their role on the offense is kind of taken over by biplanes and fighters. So it's really a question of, do I want to go ahead and pick up modern armor relatively quickly? Like, it's only 3 techs away. It's about 12 to 17 turns away. I can get modern armor and have my heavy cavalry units be really, really powerful. or if I want to go for advanced flight and get that in about 11 turns and have my biplanes be really, really powerful, and then use my gold to maybe buy a bomber or two. And I think I'm going to go the advanced flight route. I think that's just a little bit better. I suppose you could also make the argument that I could have been like making all of the wonders ever this game because I have so many cities. I could just plonk down any wonder I want. Memphis, time to meet your maker. Very close. This city shall fall next turn, and that will be the end of Egypt. You know what? I'm just going to ignore this machine gun corps and run straight for Nubian cities. That feels like the right move to me. And I'll use my balloon as a support unit to give me the firing lines that I need to actually be able to hit the Nubian cities without taking return fire from the machine guns. Goodbye, Memphis. The final hit. What? I must have rolled low on that damage or something. Or maybe I wasn't going to finish it like I thought I was. But either way, like I said, Memphis is time to die. There is Egypt, all gone. Another 5 era score. Thank you very much. We will be keeping all of your cities. And now 100% of my attention will be going towards the big, the bad, the Nubia. I just need some vision of their city here, and I can start to bombard it. I'm going to be using these military engineers copiously on the front line to lay out railroads for these artillery to move along. I'm also going to be prioritizing getting the artillery corps to the front and then having the regular artilleries behind ready to join up once I have mobilization in about 10 turns. Tanka pokes in, artillery shoots the city, Tanka hits the city. Can I climb here and bring you up? I think this double shot should just about finish the city. Perfect. Now this guy should survive any counterattacks because he's very powerful. We shall start seeing some of these cities fall very shortly. I have another... Ooh, I can in fact take the city this turn. There's Vilnius dead. The question is, do I want to raise the city or liberate it or keep the city? I think I'm going to liberate Vilnius because that'll give me pretty terrible bonuses, but more importantly, it gives me the vision and I don't have to worry about this quite so much. Now, Moreau, for sure. Man, this city looks so underdeveloped compared to like other cities that I've taken or even built. There's going to be a long, hard slog to break through Nubia. I could purchase myself another artillery corps up here in Mumbai because I just finished the military academy here and it's only 1,000 gold, so I will grab myself another artillery unit. I'm also going to want an observation balloon. How quickly could I get that in 5 turns? How much are they to purchase? They're 380 to purchase an observation balloon. I think I can get that in 2 turns. First things first, let's handle the railroad stuff over here. I don't think... Am I allowed to build railroad in someone else's territory? Oh, I am. That's kind of messed up, actually, if I think about that for a second. Let's keep the observation balloons nice and forward. I don't want to go any closer with this unit, but we do have good vision of the city now. One big problem I'm running into is some of these city-states do not like me. Like Buenos Aires. I do have 2 envoys to play with, so I can't quite liberate them from the Nubian oppressor just yet, but that will be sort of on the cards. You know what else I need? I could use some supply convoys as support units as well, because they give me extra healing and extra movement. So I'm trying to get everything together. In the city of Kawa, I'm going to go ahead and do listening posts to get slightly more damage against Nubia. I could pillage this. Oh, I could kill this machine gun while it's out in the open, actually. I think I will make the attempt here. Get all these units surrounding it. I'm going to take some serious damage in return, but I think that's a worthwhile penalty to suffer, given the circumstances of how badly I need to kill Nubia. So let's go ahead and get the kill here. And next turn I'll look around for some pillages as well to keep those guys nice and healthy. So this is where something a little bit unfortunate happened. I accidentally hit the mute button on my microphone, or else I wasn't sure if I accidentally did it or I was like called away to do something. But I hit the mute button on my microphone. I still got all of the footage, but I completely and utterly forgot that I was muted. But you can see we're just doing fairly basic things, right? We're very slowly pushing with our bombards on this city. We're using a combination of military engineers to build railroads so our guys can kind of move through the enemy territory very quickly, as well as artillery with observation balloons to sort of attack from afar and, you know, be able to attack outside of the defense range of the city. And I'm also working on, I believe, getting the military policy that allows me to combine my units together towards into armies. And it actually took quite a lot of work to break through these two cities. And then, like, the last couple cities really broke really quickly. So there's actually a significant amount of game time here. I think this, like, sped up section represents about 30 minutes of game time. And I'm going to cut it down to about 5 minutes so you can kind of get the condensed version of the game. But I pretty much have everyone on the game defeated right now. And I'm just trying to figure out how I build railroads inside her territory, how I get artilleries into position to attack that city there. And then also planning up follow-up moves on the next city while, you know, keeping abreast of any potential units in the fog of war coming out and attacking my artillery and potentially killing them, which would be really unfortunate. I don't want that to happen. But there you go. I managed to just capture that city, which is perfect, because now I can use that as a base of operations to attack the next city. And then I think there's 2 cities to the east that I'm also going to take out here pretty quick. But yeah, so you can kind of see, it's maybe a little bit hard to see, but I'm building railroads right into their territory. And that's going to let my units, like, rapidly move up and not have to worry about terrain and get right in Nubia's face, which actually worked out really well. I think before this game, I kind of undervalued military engineers as a support unit when they're building railroads, because I figured, oh, you know, a single military engineer can only build like 1 railroad per turn. But I never really put like the thought together that maybe I could have like a gang of military engineers together building roads to sort of make it easier to attack. And you can definitely pump out railroads and just get a huge throughput of units in and out of your enemy's borders. And I think I also have a newfound respect for railroads. I think they're a lot better than I gave them credit for previously, because it really does allow you to reposition your units like at a ridiculous pace. They can move like 8 times further on railroad or something outrageous like that. Maybe it's more like 4 times further, but still, it's a very long distance either way. And I'm also, you know, a lot of my economic management at this stage of the game was kind of like, just, you know, build this thing so I don't have to micromanage you, because I was really trying to focus on getting my army up and into the fray. I think we're actually getting about halfway through this section now. Let me check the old timer there. Yeah, I'd say we're about halfway through the section now. So it actually speeds up quite a bit. That city to the west there, sorry, not to the west, the eastern city that I just took over, Nubian city, that actually took me quite a while to take that over. And the next ones will fall really quickly. You'll see, like, that one just collapsed immediately. Basically, I only started attacking that like a turn or 2 ago, right? And that's the power of using railroads and heavy artillery with really long range, and then using also fast moving cavalry units to actually do the killing and capturing of the cities while having a very strong economy behind this. You can see up the top there, I'm not making like insane amounts of gold, but I'm definitely making enough gold to where I'll be able to purchase the occasional airplane. I'll be able to keep up my unit technology upgrade. Sorry, that was a little bit of a burp there. I'm going to try to roll over that as if it didn't happen. Regardless, there's mobilization, or whatever it's called, so I can now combine units together into armies. I very quickly start doing that. You can see all my units are getting combined together to create their ultimate final form, Vegeta style, and we'll start bombarding the city soon once I have all the things I need in position. There was an encampment in my way here, so I decided to stop off and kill the encampment, as well as get rid of that machine gunner. And I'm also working on combining my artillery together because, you know, unit power does not scale linearly. Plus 5 combat strength is not quite the same as plus 1 combat strength 5 times. So having 2, personally speaking, I kind of prefer to have 1 90 combat strength unit than 2 80 combat strength units, just with the way that it scales. There are situations where the 2 80 units are better, but I prefer to have one really, really strong unit, because it's much more versatile and I can sort of pick and choose how I use it. And it's also can tank much more damage than two individual units in a lot of scenarios, because once you get to a certain point in terms of combat strength relative to your enemy's combat strength, there actually isn't a whole lot that they can do to you. And the difference of 10 combat strength becomes huge. So we got rid of that encampment, I believe, and now we're working on the next city, and that'll pretty much fall right now, and then we'll be getting to work on their capital. I was really, really sad that this section didn't get audio recorded, but that's going to bring this section to a close, because in about a minute from now, of real time, I figured out that my microphone was muted, and we will go back to normal. So just enjoy this last few seconds of the sped up footage, and I'm really, really sorry about that, but I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of sped up footage as well. Oh God, somebody stopped to talk to me. Somebody stopped to talk to me and I have 30 minutes of footage that is completely muted. Jesus Christ, I am so incredibly upset at myself right now. Anyway, the point is, we used our army to take on Icon and Nuri, and we're working on Moreau now. God damn it, we have our very first airplane. Dude, I was talking in detail about strategy and how I'm going to do this and I'm going to attack there. Bam. And then I looked over and my microphone was muted. I've never been so devastated emotionally. Not even when your mom broke up with me. Got him. Okay, listen. We're fine. We're fine, right? We're going to win the game. It's all good. Let's go ahead and blow up Napata, right? Fairly standard, fairly straightforward stuff. Then we'll use das Aeroplan, das Flugzeug, to hit the city. Bring the tank in to also damage the city. It'll get a promotion. We'll kill it with the cavalry. Napata has fallen and it belongs to me. Moreau is next. Man, I'm really upset that I lost all that footage, because I was actually talking about some pretty useful stuff. No big deal. We'll just learn to live with it. It'll be fine. The good news is we can bring our artillery down to here. We've got some of our artillery in position for next turn. We'll be able to start blowing up Moreau. This guy can actually shoot from 4 tiles away, so he might be able to shoot from this campus, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles away. And then I can bring in my airplane and my thingies over here. I do have enough money to get myself a bomber. We'll make judicious use of that against the city of Moreau. No time to get nukes, however. I won the game a little bit too quickly. Maybe I'll play a bigger game where it'll take a little bit longer to win, so I'll get to see the entire tech tree. They still have a slinger in the city. Why? Why do you have a slinger? It makes no sense. My spy did level up. I don't think he's a secret agent, though. Is he? I don't know how to tell. How do I tell what level my spy is? Damn, that's like a thing I don't understand yet. I mean, I do have the intel on opponents' movements, which is, I guess, technically good enough. First shot on the enemy capital city, thanks to this artillery. Very, very nice. Let's do some railroading. And the reason we do the railroad is so that we can get our artillery units up to the front line very, very quickly. So you can see here, I can get my artillery all the way to this forest and still be able to shoot if I can indeed get this great general up here as well. So you can see I've very carefully positioned all my units. I have all this kind of shenanigans going on. I have the supply convoy providing movement. And I have the observation balloons providing range for these units in the back that don't quite have the range to get close enough to attack. In fact, I might even finish this game before I ever get to use a bomber, because like this bomber only just now is rebasing to Napata for next turn. I think I'm just going to shift enter this turn, although I might push you all the way forward to shoot this again. Actually, I think the game is over. I never got to use my bomber. Oh my god.
Though its face may change throughout the ages.
I never got to use my bomber, dude. I never got to use my bomber. That's so annoying. But And I have to say, I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed the strategy of building up a really robust capital and a really sort of limited number of cities sort of in a surrounding formation. I only settled 5 cities this game, unless you count the settler that I stole for Pydna. And I feel like the 5 cities that I settled ended up being extremely powerful. Like, my capital city has been insane this game. The sheer amount of science and culture produced out of here, and the sheer amount of production coming out of this city. Like, 85 production per turn. That's absurdity. That's kind of absurd. Like, look how much we're getting for factories, from the encampment, from the palace, worked tiles. Insane, insane. Very, very happy with how this game went, and really looking forward to playing more games like this. But we will keep the Nubian capital. Take a quick look at the world that we conquered. It is very, very nice. Only a couple of small pockets of resistance remain, and I don't think we need to see me clean that up. I think I've demonstrated that I can clean that up absolutely no problem. I love you all very much. Please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more series like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!